So as you observed in the thumbnail, it's not a matter of if, but when it comes to natural disasters and emergency scenarios, whether that be civil unrest, weather patterns, or anything else that's going on. The majority of us around the country are at threat or at risk somewhere seasonally or on the anonymous random basis to have to pack up and go at any moment, protect ourselves, protect our families, or get out of harm's way. This video is going to be particularly valuable for individuals who meet a couple criteria. Number one, you are not in the top 1 or 3%, have the money and means to jump on a jet or have properties around the country or around the world and can flee a situation at a moment's notice without a problem. You're also maybe not somebody who has friends or family in other areas that may be safe or good evacuation routes for you that you can lean on for immediate or extended periods of time. This is for anybody that feels it's valuable for them, but it's going to be particularly valuable for those who fall in that either of those or both criteria. When it comes to emergency preparedness, many people have a natural inclination, and it's out in the financial world or promoted by a lot of financial strategists for you to save cash for these types of scenarios. I am 100% in favor of cash savings, period. But that's not the most effective way to handle an emergency situation in itself. Yes, you want cash savings. I want to make that clear. But what tool you want to use or the strategy financially you want to use in an emergency situation that can be more effective for you and give you more financial benefits is not going to be your cash savings. It's going to be quality credit cards. I'm about to explain to you exactly why. And I'm going to name a few reasons that cash does not provide you, a few bases or perks and benefits that cash will not provide you. So number one, you're going to hopefully have relatively high limits. And when I say relatively high, in this scenario, anything 5 to 10K or more is reasonably sustainable to help you cover the cost of an emergency stay in a hotel, whatever food and gas is going to come with that, possibly having to replace clothes if you didn't pack enough for a situation. Just being able to float until most likely the government can step in and provide some kind of emergency assistance through cash reimbursement. And in that case, room coverage, again, gas, food, maybe even having to house other people other people you love or support or whatever the case may be. 5,000 or more, 10,000 or more is going to get that done relatively comfortably. So having at least one, but hopefully multiple credit cards that have limits around $5,000 to $10,000 or more, this is great. Because you naturally in our functioning society, you're most likely going to get reimbursements or qualify for some level of reimbursement from the government once that kicks in. You just need to float until that point in time. So that's number one. Another great benefit is you're going to have the ability to float for almost 2 months when you use credit cards. You have a full 30-day cycle to spend and a roughly around 20 days grace period before you actually have a payment due on that previous 30 days of transactions. You have nearly 2 months to float those transactions in an emergency situation. That's a beautiful benefit, once again, without you having to touch cash. The next thing that comes into play, fraud protection. In the midst of a disaster, the last thing you want is to be swiping your card at some random gas station or corner store or whatever the case may be, and end up in a fraud scenario where there's one of those magnet strip readers or something like that going on, and you get hacked while you're in an emergency situation, and you get it hacked on something like your debit card, where you're much more liable to be stuck with stuck with the loss, or it's an extremely long or aggravatingly long investigation to get your money back to you. In the credit card scenario, vast majority of them have zero fraud liability, meaning that if you were called and report a transaction not to be yours, you're going to likely get that money back in moments to hours. Beautiful benefit, relatively exclusive to credit cards. Rewards points. This is something that may not be at the top of your mind at the time of the emergency, obviously. But at the end of the day, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to accumulate benefits on your credit cards while dealing with unexpected expenses that you're hopefully largely being reimbursed for, or you have the cash savings to reimburse for. That's a beautiful benefit. Assuming everything goes fine with you and your family, when you get done with this emergency, you'll be glad you went that route. You'll have some extra perks, some extra money in your pocket, or points built up towards whatever you choose to use them for. This is a sleeper, this next one, that many people don't think about, but I've been at the rooftops about for a minute because I live in the south of the country and I experienced the warning or the actual experience of hurricane evacuations almost annually or semi-annually. And I can tell you right now, if you have to deal with regular evacuations, one of the first things you experience is the lack of availability of resources, and especially hotel accommodations. If you do your due diligence and you know for sure you're financially positioned for it, where you can go out, if you don't already have it, and acquire a quality hotel credit card, meaning a hotel loyalty program credit card. You'd have Hilton, IHG, Marriott, the list goes on. If you can get in with one of these credit cards, most of them offer status. And believe it or not, in the emergency evacuation, if you think for a second, what's the first thing to become either unavailable or skyrocket in price during an emergency? Not just gas, but hotel stays. Within hundreds and hundreds of miles, most hotel rooms are maxed out, or if they are available, they're through the roof, trying to weed out the massive influx of demand. You having reward status for one of these hotel chains, especially upper status, can make the difference in you and your family being able to get to a quality, safe hotel, not terribly far from home, or at least other family, versus having to go way out and deal with some motel, or be even worse, possibly sleeping out of your vehicle if the situation catches you off guard enough. Having hotel status on the right credit cards can be a game-changing benefits. And I'm telling you right now, if these hotel chains have to pick who they are going to appease or accommodate in a situation where there's an overabundance of a demand, they're likely going to stick with their loyalty program first. So that's a major one, that's a sleeper. And the backdrop of all of this, in the midst of you using this financial tool in the midst of a disaster, you're still building your credit. That's right. This is another benefit that cash can't offer you. If you're going to spend this money anyway, I've given you about 5 major reasons that all make sense, give you the support you need financially, responsibly, additional perks, better protections, and you're still building your financial reputation in the midst of it. The hope is that whatever natural disaster or experience you're going through is not going to damage you or your family in any significant way once you get out of harm's way. And so when you go back to your normal life, you don't want to be to drain your savings out and miss out on all these perks and benefits. You use your credit card as your front line of defense, and you use your cash when you absolutely have to, or to compensate to pay that debt off later. And I wanted to bring this to you guys to put it on your mind. If you're in my region of the country, it's hurricane season at the time of this recording. If you're anywhere else in the country, you either have flooding, tornadoes, earthquakes, wildfires, you name it, something's probably going on around you, unfortunately. And so we have to start thinking strategically financially, not just going in panic mode and cleaning out our piggy banks. We need to start thinking about the most effective way to use our money in a crunch time situation. Because when the dust settles, you still have to deal with your financial consequences of your decisions. So this is JP from Blueprint for Prosperity. To all my pioneers out there, thank you for coming back. To all my new viewers, welcome in. Like the video, subscribe, comment down below, and let me know what your experiences have been with natural disasters in your life and what value you got out of this and what input you have on how to prepare financially for these scenarios. I want you guys to comment down below. Other than that, I want y'all to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.
This is JP from Blueprint for Prosperity Network, a channel dedicated to helping you increase your net worth through relationship banking, maximizing your borrowing capacity, the proper use of life insurance, and the ownership of real estate. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm uploading content on a daily basis to help you customize your blueprint for prosperity.